of pyramids. So today what we're going to be talking about is how does this pyramid structure come about and what does it mean about the ecosystem it's in? So the first thing we want to talk about is kind of how many trophic levels are there in a food chain, and they're limited. Oops, let me pick a pen color. Let's do blue again. All right, so we have a limited length in our food chain. And our energy pyramid helps explain that. Right? So typically you have no more than 4 to 5 trophic levels. Wow, cannot spell anything. I'm sorry guys, trophic levels. And that's just because there's not enough energy. Once we get up here, there's simply just not enough energy to support a whole organism, nevertheless a population of organisms that are trying to share the amount of energy that you have left over. All right, so, and there are a few exceptions to this. Marine tends to be the biggest one. So it's our marine / aquatic systems. And the reason for that is the first few trophic levels are either really small or there's very little structure to them. Like the algae. All right, it can keep growing and growing. It doesn't need a whole lot of space, so it can support quite a bit. But when you look at our pyramid shape, when you think about that very, very top person, you have very vulnerable top carnivores. If the smallest thing goes wrong, all of their available energy can disappear. So they're really affected at the by changes in the lower trophic levels. There's small numbers to begin with, just because the amount of energy to support one, it's quite a bit. And they're affected by a buildup of toxins. And there's a million different examples. We'll talk about a few in class, hopefully. And what that's called is biomagnification, and you might also see it as bioaccumulation. Magnification. It's most often heavy metals, or pesticides. Things that they don't dissolve in water, but they're soluble in fat. So if I had a big, fat, happy fish, it's got a lot of fat in here, it's also riddled with dangerous toxins as well. All right, so it can be stored just where you store your fat. And that's where you see the buildup. It's in that fatty tissue. So what you have is if I am a shark, right, and I have to eat several of these fish, I also get the addition of these extra toxins. So you'll see as you go up your food chain, you have an amplified, it's almost exponential amount of toxin as you go up the food chain. For organisms that are suffering from this, things like polar bears, bald eagles had a problem with DDT. It's not necessarily lethal, but it's going to affect the reproductive systems and immune systems. But if you think about all those top carnivores like large fish, and we kind of eat those, so there's a human impact. And we see it through kind of long-term health impacts like organ damage, even things like tumors. We'll talk more about bioaccumulation. I think it's a really interesting topic, and hopefully we'll be able to go outside and do a little lab on it. But that is kind of the shorter version of the structure of ecosystems and how they're demonstrated and modeled by the pyramid and why they are that way.